All right, the first search warrant we're gonna hit today is 100 greenhouses. I'm gonna lead us in. Gonna take it nice and slow on the dirt road.
It's been over 5 years since California voters legalized recreational marijuana. One of the aims was to stamp out the illicit market. But these deputies in San Bernardino County find themselves raiding more illegal pot farms than ever before.
The team got information from a resident that complained that illegal water trucks were hauling out here, and they found several outdoor illegal cultivations of marijuana. If you're tending to the grow, you're looking at a citation. It's a misdemeanor, but you maybe get a $500 fine for it. 500 plants, you have 1,000 plants, you have 1,000,000 plants, it's still a misdemeanor.
So you feel like legalization with those drop penalties has emboldened the black market growers to just go buck wild?
Yes, there's no threat of penalty. These are just perfect areas and locations to set these up.
For massive operations like this with thousands of plants, low penalties have become just the cost of doing business.
What's going to happen to that guy?
Most likely it's going to be a marijuana citation, and we'll release them. With COVID and stuff, we'd rarely take these people into jail unless it's a violent felony. But this is huge.
This is just some of the processed marijuana that they've raided here. It's a big mountain of pot. It's kind of a drop in the bucket. There's sites like this all around us, basically as far as the eye can see, other greenhouses of legal grow hops. So the sheriffs could be raiding properties like this all day, every day, and still not get rid of all of them, just in this one corner of the county.
The harm is that these growers can use toxic chemicals and pesticides, hijack water, and destroy the environment. The sheriff's department says organized crime has taken advantage. This county has seen seizures of illicit weed skyrocket over the last 5 years, and other areas across the state report similar problems. California's illicit market is worth an estimated $8 billion annually. That's roughly double the volume of licensed and taxed sales. Part of the problem is that while marijuana possession and consumption is legal everywhere, growing and commercial distribution is not. More than half of all California counties have local laws banning retail marijuana activity. In San Bernardino, both cultivation and sales are prohibited.
Do you think this site would have existed 5 years ago before recreational legalization in California?
No, once the legalization happened, we saw this outdoor trend.
What can the state do about it?
The fines need to impact the landowners who allow this. You don't need to go to jail, but your crop's worth $1 million, you owe us $500,000 to the state.
Do you feel overwhelmed by this problem out here?
It's just very time consuming. Some of these grow sites in about 3 to 4 months are back up again and running because the repercussions aren't there, so they just go back in business.
Talk about whack-a-mole.
It is whack-a-mole.
Illegal grow operations aren't just springing up in the California desert.
Follow me. And here we go. This is where the magic happens.
And these plants are illegal in the eyes of the state of California.
Correct.
When we walked in here, you would have no idea that there's a grow operation going on here. It's super discreet.
And that's the point.
This grower, who asked to be identified as Doc, operates indoor grows in the suburbs. He's been working illegally for 2 decades, and he says the business is better than ever.
Now that legalization has gone up, we've seen a rise in the amount of weed that we're selling in the neighborhood.
Wait, you sell more weed illegally in the legal era than you did before when it was illegal?
Definitely. Once you get used to a certain strain or a certain smoke, you're looking for something that's a little bit more potent. Potency is what you're gonna find in the hood. If you're a tourist, you're gonna go to a dispensary because you're not knowing that there's far better weed in the neighborhood.
Do you ever see yourself going to the legal market?
I've been wanting to go to the legal market, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna be upset because I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. You know, you've got people that aren't even from Los Angeles coming in and raking in huge profits from a business and an industry that we created. We created this, they didn't create this.
One of Doc's new competitors in the underground market calls himself Dank. He told us he invests in legal grows, but he also bankrolls this unlicensed farm.
Yeah, you can just see how tight the buds are coming up. There's not a lot of spacing on the plant, which gives you a higher yield. These buds are a little dense too if you squeeze them.
Oh yeah, that's Ooh, it's sticky too.
Yeah, so really sticky, high resin production. This is the good stuff right here.
Danks says an eighth of his dispensary-grade weed could sell on the street for half the price the store charges. It's so cheap because he's not paying taxes, and neither is the consumer.
If this were legal, how much would you be paying towards taxes?
Legal, I would probably estimate tens of thousands of dollars annually. They're blocking out so many people in the market that want to participate.
How much do you expect to profit from it right now without it being legal?
About $100,000. People have told me they perceive me as a criminal for doing this. And, in many instances, it's just operating without a license, just like other businesses that are just trying to get started in an industry.
I mean, do you feel like a criminal when you're doing this?
No, and morally, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. Not at all do I feel like a criminal.
I just think it's just they're consistent. It's good weed.
Even those who've been able to break into the legal market complain that the system is broken. Elliot Lewis runs a chain of dispensaries in Southern California, but he's struggling to compete with unlicensed dealers.
How profitable in reality is it to run a legal cannabis business in California right now?
It's not profitable at all. The store we're standing in right now is still in the red. It's losing money.
That's crazy. You're losing money running a legal cannabis store.
Yes. The only way we're able to survive is we're running a really, really low corporate overhead, and we have a few stores that are profitable, right? Some make a tiny bit, some make a little bit more, but when you're in expansion mode, it's not really anything that's significant. With all the taxes and the regulations, it's very, very hard to squeeze out any profit, and there's really no large amounts of money to be made in the industry right now.
Lewis claims some of his licensed competitors are diverting millions of pounds of product to the illegal market, allowing businesses to dodge taxes and luring more customers away from his cash registers. He blames California's Department of Cannabis Control for the problem, and late last year, he sued the state for failing to take action.
We're taking you to court, we're getting a fucking injunction. It's Catalyst with the industry on our back against the state of California.
The idea of the lawsuit is to embarrass the shit out of them, right? So their program is an abject failure, and they want to put their head in the sand and not admit it.
Attorneys for the state call the lawsuit uncertain, ambiguous, and unintelligible. The case is still playing out in court. But Lewis isn't alone in his complaints. Last month, a group of marijuana business owners sent a letter to Governor Gavin Newsom warning that the industry is collapsing under high taxes and competition from the illicit market. In a statement to Vice News, the governor's office acknowledged that the current system is not perfect and said, quote, "The cannabis tax structure is presenting unintended but real challenges for components of our legal market." Some parts of California are trying to bring people who were once outlaw growers into the legal marketplace. Ryan Brown served 5 years in state prison for a case that involved marijuana charges. He qualified for a social equity program that moves people affected by the drug war to the front of the line for marijuana business licenses.
In my mind, I'm a felon. I've been to prison. Not in 100 years would I thought that I would be able to own a dispensary or have anything to do with legalized marijuana. Not for 100 years.
But the system is not working as intended. Of the 205 verified social equity applicants in Los Angeles qualified to run retail shops, only 38 have actually managed to obtain temporary licenses to operate.
It's harder than people actually think, because to actually get your license, but you have to have a building within Los Angeles City, not to mention the taxes, It makes it almost impossible to operate, especially for somebody that doesn't have a bunch of money even to get started.
Mm-hmm. How much of your own money have you spent trying to get this off the ground?
30, 40, 50,000, something like that.
And still not able to operate and see any returns out there? How's that feel?
Humiliating, yeah.
Does it ever make you think about going back to the illicit marketplace?
Definitely. Step in any day.